this is a crucial one. The warmth and the loyalty at this stage important, because if that's not there at this stage, when they move into the teen years, it's going to be really difficult. And this is where a lot of parents begin to struggle, because the child is becoming more independent.
Dependence, yeah.
And you almost feel like, oh, do they need me as much?
Welcome to my channel again, and welcome to the second part of the mothers and son love. This episode, like I said last week, is us celebrating motherhood and womanhood and then sonship. So if you missed the first episode of the series, please visit my channel to watch the first one. And then this is the second part. The first one, we talked about an overview of the love of our relationships with our sons from birth until they leave home. Today, we're going to be focusing on from childhood to preteens, laying the right foundation for this love and helping them to grow in love. And like I said last week, I promised you I'm going to be with Pastor Folakemi all through this month of March. Yeah, she can't run away from me, I know. But please welcome with me Pastor Folakemi Ikuyinminu, who is the lead coach at Future Coach and Consulting, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And then she's also the founder of Light on Learning. Light on Learning is new. So I know Future Coach and Consulting because it focuses on teenagers and their parents. Light on Learning is new and it focuses on children, supporting parents and the children with special needs. Yeah. And she's also a lead pastor. And most importantly, she's my big sister.
Yay!
Awesome. So today I want to be focusing on the preteens.
Okay. Childhood,
maybe like the older childhood to preteens. And for me, I say that's like one of the most important stages of raising boys. When they are toddlers, a lot younger, you can run around, you can help them gauge their energy, all of those things. You're just taking in the beauty of, oh, my little chubby son. Yeah. But when they begin to get to that age 6, 7, to preteens, Pastor Folake, what has been your experience, if you can remember?
I'll try and remember, and I'll put it in perspective, in retrospect, things I've learned afterwards. So I'll add things. Age 4 to 6. Let me just say, for boys, you as a mother, you are the center of their universe.
Mm-hmm.
You are the center of, you're their first love. Don't take it for granted. It takes. Yeah. So age 4 to 6, it's an interesting age, because at that age they're very impressionable and they look up to you. They want to learn from you. And they are dependent on you. At that age, I looked at my son and I thought to myself, he's got a strong will. He looks quiet and gentle. And I said, I don't want to break his will. I didn't know how to do it right at that point, but I was conscious of the fact that, this boy's got a strong will. I don't want to break that will, because there's a purpose, there's a reason. God gives us this grace as mothers. There's a knowing on the inside of you that there's something I need to do, even if you don't know how to do it.
How
So
to do it,
yes,
yeah.
for me at that age, yeah, we had a lot of tantrums, oh no, but I kept, I kept trying to have an even temper. Oh, I'd get into a temper sometimes because I just wanted him to turn out right. But it's an interesting season, age 4 to 6. What I've learned in research, when I started looking at, the psychology of it, it's a period where you are modeling to them. You're actually modeling to them how to show respect, how to be part of a family, what you value as a family, those sort of things. So they're like sponges at that stage. They're taking in everything.
Yeah.
They're absorbing it, they're learning. So let's have fun with them, be happy with them. My son is, I won't say was, he's a very active person. At that age, in winter, we had just moved to the UK. He would just, Mom, let me just play my football in the garden. So in winter, I would have to like dress up warm and follow them to the park, because you can't send your children to the park without being there.
Yeah.
Those sort of things. So it's at that age where, you build the foundation for your relationship. 4 to 6 is important. Model to them how to be healthy, how to be supportive. Just they need that example. Now, that builds up. 7 to 9 will build up on that. Okay. And 7 to 9, you're actively teaching them.
Yeah.
Remember, you were modeling. Now you're actively teaching them, okay, this is how to lay your bed. This is how to fold your stuff. This is how to wash your plates. This is how to pack your lunch. This is how to, at that stage, they need to learn and learn and learn. And this is when we give them the grace to make decisions. So that's when you now go to the shop and say, do you want a blue one or a white one? 4 to 6, they're usually not bothered. But by 7 to 9, you're beginning to give them the independence of making decisions. Now, I won't say I was very good at that, because I don't know. I had my own kind of ideas. So I'm being honest here. But yeah, that's the ideal thing to do at that age. Give them opportunities to make decisions, so they can start realizing that, sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. I think what we struggle with is allowing them to make those decisions and make mistakes.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, we want them to get it right. We don't want them to make any mistakes, but I'd say let them start making mistakes between
and 7. Because we don't want them to make mistakes is why we think we need to make the decisions for them.
Absolutely.
So it's not necessarily that, Mama, there's something wrong with you, or you're just being a mama. But again, it's allowing them that freedom to make the decisions.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was about that age that I think I went out shopping and I bought this beautiful pair of trainers for my boys. I still can remember the look on their faces. And because they didn't want to hurt Mama, they took the trainers, but they never wore them for 1 day.
Yeah.
So after that, I said to them, plaques and plaques and plaques. If I buy anything for you, if you don't want it, tell me. I won't be upset. And they said, oh, Mom, we didn't want to get you upset. I said, no, I won't be upset. So for my children, I think just before the preteen age, except for school supplies, we will go and they will, even for school supplies, like school shoes, choose the one you want. This is the budget. And choose the one you want. And just to add to that age of between 7 and maybe 9, 10, 11, because I think that age for me was one of the stages where I was like, oh, really? With my boys and their father. And if you peradventure your father, you're watching this, or your mom, you're watching this, I want you to pay attention to the fact that that age is where Dad is like God to them. That age, that phase is where they want to be like Dad. So when you're asking them anything, most times you will hear like Dad, like Dad. like dad. They want to dress up like dad. They want to eat like dad. They love dad's car. Dad is like that, high and mighty. And I always say to fathers, that age is where you need to strike the iron in terms of building that good and trustworthy relationship. And for us mothers, that phase is where you want to be careful with anything you say about their father.
True.
You don't want to go into unnecessary banter to say, because they're watching. And I realized that all the things that happen between dad and mom in that phase sticks. It remains with them. Everything sticks in their head. You want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd say right at that stage, 10 to 12, after 9, maybe 9 to 12 these days, because they're maturing so quickly, is when you are befriending them and you are, having, more mature conversations where you're asking their opinion more. And, there's a personal relationship where you are still the responsible adult. And this is a crucial one. The warmth and the loyalty at this stage is important, because if that's not there at this stage, when they move into the teen years, it's going to be really difficult. And this is where a lot of parents begin to struggle, because the child is becoming more independent.
Yeah.
And you almost feel like, oh, do they need me as much? And some fathers struggle with this stage. They see the little boy has suddenly become like them.
What's happening?
They're like, and and all of a sudden, I'm talking,
and this little boy is now having an opinion.
Exactly.
He has an opinion.
And the emotions begin to fly high, the characters begin to clash. And I'm just like, oh God, help me. Yeah. The crucial stage for boys and fathers. Fathers, please, at this stage, before they go into the teen years, befriend them, have those conversations, let them feel comfortable around you.
Exactly.
So that they can come back to you. Mothers as well. This is the time we start stepping back a bit, so that they can start bonding, because up till 9-ish, 10-ish, they are mom.
Boys, yes, yeah.
But as soon as they start hitting puberty, we need to start encouraging that push, having, them having time with their dad, dad doing a lot more of the football runs and other things, so that they can have time to,
And when they have their clashes, they have their moments, interfere less.
Oh, yeah.
Mothers, I think that's one thing we need to learn as well, interfere less. One thing I have to say to myself deliberately is, can a father who does all of this for his children hate the children? No. So that means, just like me, whatever he's doing for the boys is out of love. So at that moment, step aside. Maybe if we can notice one or two things that maybe not. When it's just the two of us, we'll talk about it. But we need, because I've heard fathers say, every time I try to correct him, every time I try to do this, she says this, she does that. So it's their problem. Let them deal with it. And it doesn't start in a day. It's something that builds up. And we're not talking to fathers today, so we leave the father side.
We'll leave it, yeah.
But mothers,
minding that.
Exactly. Mind that thing. Give that gap and allow them. Because if you look at it, when we become friends, we make mistakes with ourselves, don't we? But it doesn't mean we'll no longer be friends. We make mistakes, we amend, we amend, and giving them that opportunity, particularly our sons, to be able to amend, mend those gaps, mend those clashes. It's also teaching them to mend these things when they grow up, so they don't run away from, conflict. They know they're good with problem solving, conflict resolution. So I think I want to sound out. Mothers, step aside, allow them do their thing.
Yeah, I think
if it's choking you, pray. Also enter your room and just.
I think where we struggle is a lot of our men are still very traditional. And there are things we see that they don't see. And it's hard to swallow some things that might come up. And like I said to the group,
particularly when you hear some things they say
on Thursday, that sometimes you would just have to swallow it and then have a conversation a little bit later. And, we're children of God, the Holy Spirit will give us wisdom.
Amen. And again, maybe this is important to say as well, that don't leave conversations until something happens. The worst time to have a conversation about something is when it's gone wrong. So have these conversations ahead or way after. And so, for instance, you want to have a conversation about the name calling, and they've called the boy names today. Swallow is like Folakemi has said. 2 weeks later, just bring up a topic about name calling, and then you can now say, for instance, in a subtle way. But when things are heated, is the wrong time to try and resolve things.
Don't disagree in front of the children.
Exactly, because it just escalates. And this, I say that children are like the greatest psychologists you want to know. Yeah. They are smart, they're good at psychology. They know how to read us, read our emotions, read our body language. In fact, I don't know how they do it.
How they can get their way, and it's amazing. I always say this. But this was years ago. I think my daughter must have been. I can't even remember. I think I traveled or something, and she said something like, "Oh, I know when Dad is talking to you. His voice is different." And I thought,
how?
She was. How old was she? 8, 9? I was like she said, I knew he was talking to you on the phone. I said, how did you know? How did you know? She said his voice is different when he's talking to you. And I was just like, these children, what do they know? That I don't know, but they know.
And I'm sure if you ask Dad will be wondering how.
Even that they're talking to. Up to today, I can't fathom. But she said, no, his voice is different. I knew he was talking to you. So children see and they know.
They know exactly. So it's again being open to them and then allowing them, never conflicts in front of them. But now talking about, don't let them witness your arguments or your conflicts and all of that. I want to say with a pinch of salt that, again, we're not saying don't let your children know you people disagree.
No, that's not what we're saying.
No, yes, because disagreement is part of
relationships. Otherwise, they're going to grow up thinking our parents are always.
Exactly. No,
that's the way I grew up. I never thought my parents disagreed. So it's all right for them to know that you disagree, but you're not going to have that disrespectful
exactly.
Or anything.
I didn't know my parents disagree until one Saturday morning. Somebody came to report her husband to my mom, and my mom she was like, very funny story. The lady was like, I'm leaving him. I can't anymore. And my mom said, please take this one in my room. Or take me with you. And apparently, my parents were in the room arguing about the same thing that made that woman come to cry to my mom. So when my mom listened to her, when she finished, my mom said, mommy, I'm leaving him. I'm not doing it again. My mom said, please take me with you. Because that's exactly what we're talking about in the room. And the lady was like, are you real? Do you people argue? My mom was like, So, and I think since then, my mom started beginning to let us see, okay. So we kind of began to know when they're not in agreement, but all of those drama, I don't think I ever witnessed them, but we know. So it's not healthy to make them feel, it's all okay. No, because it's never going to be all okay. It's never. But it's being able to resolve it as we go. I think we said a lot around.
Yeah, I think
this space is like the biggest one that, if we don't get right, it's very easy to break the child, break the home, and even break ourselves. So pay attention to it. Like I said last week, parents, before I ask Pastor Folake for her final words on this, if you need any help, if you need support in these areas, please reach out to us, Pastor Folake or myself. And we're going to leave our details in the introduction or the information bit on this video. So please feel free to reach out to us and let's talk about this. Now, Mama, your last word on this topic.
Okay, what's my last word? That's a tough one. I think the preteen years are important. They're very important. You need to pay attention to who your son is becoming and be there for them. The bonding at this stage is very important. Pay attention to who they're becoming. What are their strengths? What are they leaning towards? And be there to support them so they can become the best version of themselves.
Awesome. Thank you. And for me, my final word is be careful about the things you say to them, affirm them, and allow them and dad. It's very important. I keep talking about dad because I love our dads, right? So please allow them and their dad. Let dad be dad and you be mom. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll be back next week with a part 3 of this series. We love you. Bye. See you soon.